Welcome to AMG Academy. Get ready to dive into a vibrant community where insurance professionals come together to discuss the latest in sales techniques, innovative business strategies, and the power of collaboration. Whether you're looking out for the next big trend in sales or seeking insights into strategic business growth, this is your hub. This is AMG Academy.
Hello and welcome to another edition of AMG Academy. I'm Matt McClure, and I am joined today by Demetri Simos, who is Assistant VP of Sales at Guarantee Trust Life, otherwise known, probably more well-known to you as GTL. He has been in the insurance industry for almost 3 decades now, the last 20 years with GTL, currently the Assistant VP of Sales, as I said. That's a position he's been in for a couple of years now. Currently lives in the Chicago area with his wife, Lisa. They have 2 teenage boys, God bless him. He also helped to create a hospital indemnity policy for GTL, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Demetri, thank you so much for being a part of things today. Really appreciate it.
Hey, good morning, Matt. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well, sir. Hopefully I didn't steal any of your thunder there talking about your life and times, but you're based out of Chicago, and I say you've got 2 teenage boys. God bless you, because I once was a teenage boy, so I know the struggle, at least from this side. And now looking back, I'm like, God bless my parents. But you do a lot of traveling around with them for sports and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a blessing and a curse, as they say, right? It's right. Because there's so much. The kids are just so active. They both play hockey, both play lacrosse. Which both those sports are very, very intensive in terms of the travel side of it, going to different states and tournaments on the weekends and all that good stuff. I mean, would I trade it in for the world? Anything? No, I would not trade it in. I'll do it again if they let me. So this is when they're, the hard part is when they start getting to be like right now, 18 and 16, where it's about coming to an end. That's the hard part.
I can imagine. Well, yeah. And the bottom line there is, in addition to GTL keeping you busy, the boys keep you busy as well. So
absolutely
give you a lot to do. Well, we're going to, of course, be talking about, as I sort of mentioned there very briefly, this hospital indemnity coverage that you actually really helped create for GTL back in 2005. Talk about hospital indemnity, first of all, and kind of what it is, where it sort of fits into the grand scheme of insurance coverage.
I guess from a historical perspective, hospital indemnity has been around for a long time. It wasn't a new concept in 2005, quite frankly. It's been around, but in 2005 with the introduction of Medicare Advantage, there's the COPE. We're looking at it. We're trying to learn, to be honest. We're trying to figure out what Medicare Advantage was, because none of us really knew what was happening there. And as we were figuring it out, we kind of solved the problem with Medicare Advantage, which was the copays and the exposure that the clients had, with the plans. And, so talking with our field partners and such, we came up with a conversation that, hey, look, if we use the hospital indemnity plan, because being an indemnity product, which is, for me, what I think is really cool about it is that, yes, you can buy, let's say, $300 a day of hospitalization coverage, but if their copay is only $250, the client's still going to get $300. So now extra dollars could be beneficial in other ways, not just for the hospitalization. It could be for other stuff that could be unique and incredible, which incredible for them to use. And so that's where hospital indemnity, I think, made a lot of sense, because it's a lot of flexibility that you can kind of build into the product program in general to be able to help folks, various things, not just a specific situation, and that's it.
Gotcha. Okay, so essentially, it's not your traditional health insurance. It's an additional policy that people can add on then. And as with anything, indemnity, basically it's meant to cover those costs associated with, in this case, being hospitalized, that traditional coverage doesn't cover.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, you did a much better job of explaining it than I did. So thank you.
That's our show, everybody. So well, there you go. That's it in a nutshell. I love it. Well, and then so talk about, if you would, some maybe some common situations or examples of when hospital indemnity would really come in handy for somebody.
I mean, in general, I think hospital indemnity can be used in any scenario in management. It doesn't matter. If somebody has the desire to purchase and utilize the benefits, it can be used in any scenario you can imagine. But obviously, we want to tie it to a specific situation. Medicare Advantage is the easiest one to talk about because, as I mentioned, you got copays, you got maximum out of pockets, and you want to make sure that, yes, you're talking to the client about a Medicare Advantage plan being zero premium, but we got to explain what that means. That's the part that I think it's the hard part for clients to understand is what does that really mean to zero premium? It doesn't mean that you pay zero premium and then you go in the hospital and then you got no bills at all to worry about. They don't understand, a lot of times they don't catch or understand that $300 a day for 7 days means if you're hospitalized for 7 days, you're going to be paying $2,100 out of pocket. Yep. That's where hospital indemnity could really be a big help. I mean, at the end, the way I always like to kind of part of the probably prior question about hospital indemnity probably tie into this too. The whole purpose of what we do as insurance, it's about taking pennies on the dollar, which is the premium, to be able to allow somebody to get access to a significant amount of benefit. That's what we do. That's what we advise on. That's what we educate on. Now, if the folks that we're all talking to, if they understand that, great. Then they're a step ahead. Now folks that don't get it, it's gonna, there's gonna be the ones that call you and say, "Oh, well, what am I gonna do?" So that's the hard part. But when we're talking about hospital indemnity, everyone always asks me, "What's the secret to hospital indemnity?" Sorry if I'm jumping around on you here, but what's the secret? The secret is you got to present it. That's it. I know you and I have probably asked a lot of questions over our lifetimes, and we probably got a lot of no's during that time frame, right? We're used to it. It's okay. You know what? What's a no? No means we're getting closer to yes. So that's all it is.
Yeah.
So that's when it comes to hospital indemnity, I think it's a must add.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you say that, like, is there a particular, in your experience, a particular demographic of clients that this is going to be best for? Like, is there one group that you would say, oh, this has got to be a must add for this particular group, or is it kind of a must add for anybody you go in and talk to?
Well, when we're looking at the demographic side of it, I guess we probably should start at the beginning a little bit about that. What does a demographic mean? It's a senior market product, MAPDs. Most of the folks that have an MAPD today, they're not going to be the uber wealthy. The folks, they're going to be middle America. I looked it up a few weeks ago and just to verify to make sure I was still current in my numbers here. The median savings account for folks that are 65 to 75 is $8,000.
Wow.
So now what better? We're talking that's medium. So that means that's probably the vast majority of our population that's a senior market. So what better thing to be able to offer to those folks as that hospital indemnity plan? Because if one catastrophic event of a health occurrence or any other type of occurrence that may happen wipes out that $8,000. Now, what's the one thing that, if we asked our parents, if we asked our aunts and uncles and all that, right? What is the one thing that they're the most, that they don't want to do or be to their kids? A burden.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the number one thing that every parent, relative that you would ask, you talk to and ask them that question, they'd say, I don't want to be a burden to my kids. And I think having a hospital indemnity plan is a step towards allowing them to not have to feel that way. Like we all have dignity and pride. Everyone does, man. Everyone has that. So, to me, that's the primary.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, as you mentioned, the financial aspect as well, because there's, if you're hospitalized for, as you say, a catastrophic event, then you could wipe out that $8,000 in savings very, very quickly. I mean, if you, like my dad, before he passed, about I don't know, 8 or 9 months before he passed, I would say, he was in the hospital for like 45 days because he had sepsis originally, then was in ICU, a regular room, went back to the ICU, back to the regular room, had something else happen, which I won't go into because that could take up the entire podcast. But then was going to move into the physical therapy rehab part of the hospital. When that was happening, had to move back into the ICU because of something that happened, then moved back to a regular room, then went into, so it just was a saga, And so, luckily he had some good coverage there and didn't go bankrupt, because I don't know that he had $8,000 in a savings account at that time at all. But yeah, I mean, so not only does it help from being a burden on the kids or on the grandkids or whomever, any loved one, it helps in that financial aspect, which then also helps you from becoming a burden, because if you run out of all of your money, you're like, okay, well, where's it going to come from now?
Exactly. So I wish I could say we had endless supplies of it, but
well, you and me, if only we could all just win the lottery, we'd be okay.
I'm trying every week, man.
I'm telling you, you and me both, every time they call out numbers and I, just gets down the line and I'm like, well, didn't win again. One of these days, we can live in hope. But yeah, but so as far as, okay, so we were talking about Medicare Advantage a moment ago, and the fact that it's very often built from a marketing standpoint. When you're originally talking to people about Med Advantage, it's very the focus can be on, okay, there's zero premiums and all of that.
Yeah.
Talk about premiums, deductibles, all of that kind of thing as far as this hospital indemnity coverage goes.
All right, well, there is no deductibles on it. So that's a nice part about it. You can take that conversation off the table right there, right away. But on a premium basis, it's an issue age product. So that means that if a person at 65 years old purchases a plan, and let's say it's $35, $40 a month, it's going to stay the same for many, many years to come. I can tell you it's probably going to stay the same forever, pretty close to forever, because being that we're the only ones that have had over 18 years of experience in the market, we've never done a rate increase, never done a benefit decrease, and quite honestly, we find ourselves actually doing a little bit more benefit increases for folks, at where it's necessary. And so folks are coming in saying they're getting $300 a day from us, and then over time, because of various factors, they may end up with $400 or $500. So as benefit, not increase their cost, just an added benefit. So it's so it's a very stable product pricing wise, from that perspective. What you purchase, you're going to have, which I guess you take the variable component out of that picture. The variable component in Medicare, quite honestly, it really is like the Med Sup kind of world, where it's a issue age price. Well, I'm sorry, it's attained age priced, but it's going to go up every year because of their age, but then also it's going to go up because of claim experience and so forth and so on. So that's variable to me. But with hospital indemnity and MA, at least as far as we can see today, you got a way to make that healthcare cost your fixed cost, which I think is pretty important, especially with folks in the demographics that most people are working in. Having a fixed cost and a budget to count on could be pretty important.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking those variables off the table. If you're living on a fixed income, having a fixed price for your healthcare, boy, that means the world.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and you can't put a price on peace of mind. So that's one thing that I always say when we're talking about these types of plans. And we've been speaking about sort of hospital indemnity kind of in more general terms, while also kind of working in, GTL in particular. Is there anything that you wanted to highlight that we haven't talked about yet that sort of sets GTL's hospital indemnity policy apart from other policies that may be out there on the market?
I guess I hate to reference this all the time, but our experience, I think, is a big component of it, because we've gotten to be really good at, the back end process, that, the claim side of it, where we have folks here that have seen everything probably touched various things that, people have that happens in the world. So I think our claims process is incredible from that perspective. From a product perspective, I think our product is, and I know our product is designed to be paying out benefits. That's what it's designed to do. It's not a very rigid structure. But the product looks pretty similar to what it was like in 2005 when we first designed. We just kind of made enhancements. The restoration, unlimited restoration of the daily benefit for the clients, every 60 days, or observation or confinement, not having a difference between the two. We just look at, you're in the hospital for 48 hours. You go in there 5 times a year that way. That means you're in there for 10 days and they're all observation, let's say. That's okay. You're in the hospital. You're getting the benefit paid for your client so they can take care of the copay. If you have a scenario of a lot of folks, when they get hospitalized, they get discharged a lot of times at 22 to 23 hours. A lot of hospital indemnity plans out there don't pay. Well, all of them don't pay typically unless it's 24-hour period, but some will pay if it's less than 24 hours because it's under observation. But what happens if the client's confined during the 23 hours instead of observation? Well, our plan will pay because we have a benefit that says from 6 hours to 24 hours. If you're observation or confinement and you get discharged underneath that 24-hour period, you'll get your 1 day's worth of daily benefit payable to them. So it's little things like that. Another thing that I think we just improved upon the product was our emergency room benefit. We have an emergency room benefit and also urgent care as part of the same thing. So it's $150. So you can go to emergency room or urgent care. You don't have to sit there and add an additional rider, to be able to get that extra benefit and extra cost. It's all part of the base plan. So from a base plan perspective, very, very, very solid. But as when I always say, when it comes to hospital indemnity plans, the base plan is, if you have to go that route only, I get it. It's a budget play for the folks. It's completely understandable. Something's going to be better than nothing. But ideally, every single hospital indemnity plan should have an ambulance rider automatically, because the likelihood of folks, calling their kids and waiting for the kids to come pick them up, take them to the emergency room, within a safe time frame is pretty low, right? But the ambulance will be there within 10 minutes, let's say. So that's why we need that ambulance rider, because there's going to be a copay associated with an emergency room visit with an ambulance. The other riders that I think make a lot of sense, because for me, hospital indemnity is really determined, it's really you got to really set it up to that takes care of the maximum out of pocket exposure. I'm not sitting here worrying about the $5 or $10 copays. That's not the stuff that concerns me. It's the stuff that can eliminate that $8,000 savings account. The big things. So ambulance is a small one, but it's so inexpensive that it makes a lot of sense to add. But the big one, cancer rider. That's a big one that we've got to add, as part of the presentation to the client, because that's going to help folks with the Part B radiation chemotherapy copay that they have that's 20% applied to the max out of pocket. And if you can get a lump sum cancer, and God forbid, somebody gets diagnosed with cancer, the probability of them hitting their max out of pocket is pretty much 100%.
Yeah.
And so that's where, that's another one that I like a lot. The other one that I think makes a lot of sense is also skilled nursing. Because when you sit there and you figure out what the benefits are for skilled nursing with the MA plan, it's 0 to 20 days, no copay. From days 21 to 100, you're going to have, it's a range, but let's say 170 to around $200 a day of copay that the client has to have. So now if you multiplied 200 by 80 days, that's $16,000 that's exposure there. Wow. So why wouldn't we want to protect that? And our skilled nursing benefit, it's actually a very, very generous skilled nursing benefit, because it restores unlimited number of times, just like the base benefit does. After 60 days of being in the hospital, nursing home, they can get the benefit restored again. So if they went in again a year later, let's say for another 80 days, 100 days, let's say, they'll have the 80 days copays covered. And then if they win a year later again, the third time, they'll have another benefit available to them. So I think that's the whole premise behind the product, was it's created to be used so that folks can get benefit and be able to have that peace of mind. There's other riders that we also have, like an outpatient therapy rider, which I think is very inexpensive. We have an outpatient surgical rider that's inexpensive. So if you want, I always tell people, present to the client the full boat. right in front, right all at once. Just present it all at once that way. Because the number might be $80, $90 a month, which is okay. Nothing wrong with that. We're advising now, right? We're advisors. This is what I believe you should, this will take care of your exposure you have. So you present it, the client says, you know what, that's outside my budget. Okay, that's not a problem. What do you want me to remove from your protection? Let the client get involved now. If the client gets involved, what's going to happen? They're going to buy into it even more. When they get to that point where they say yes, you're going to end up in a position where now they're bought in, they decided with this, it becomes so much stickier because they're part of the process. For me, another big benefit of hospital indemnity just generically is, I've thought about it when I said sticky. So, the MA plan, you add a hospital indemnity to that just makes that sticky right there. And it makes that client sticky to you.
Yeah.
Because now you have two policies with that client. Because now you can call them a client with two policies. With only one policy, you can only call them a customer. With two, then when you get to three, now you're really developing a relationship there. And the more relationships you have, the better off you are for your practice as an advisor. Because who are they going to start calling automatically when they get a direct mail piece card with some information on it? They're like, oh, hey, you know what? I wonder if Matt knows anything about this. Let me ask him and find out about this. Or even better, when you reach out to the client once, twice a year, what are you going to do? Hey, how's everything going? You're not trying to sell them, maybe, or maybe you have an idea you might want to show them, just kind of present and keep advising. But at the end, have you met anybody new that could benefit from meeting from me? Because what do we like? We like referrals in this business.
Yeah.
That's a golden ticket, I call it. It's a golden ticket. It's you have a better opportunity to be able to do something with that than sometimes just cold calling. So, but sorry, I had to ramble on it.
No, do not apologize at all. That's absolutely fine. I love it. I love, especially too, talking about presenting everything at once that would benefit the client, and then having them be part of that conversation as like, okay, what do you want to remove? Because, if there's something in there that would be a benefit to them, a rider perhaps that they, that maybe that cancer benefit rider or something like that. Maybe they have a history of cancer in their family, and so they're concerned about that. Well, if we take this off, of course, it makes your monthly premium go down, but is it really worth the trade-off? It really gets them thinking about the whole process, the whole deal. And any other tips like that for agents who are presenting these policies to prospective clients that might help them along in the process?
I'm of the belief, and I think a lot of people do this, but in case you don't, it may be good practice to start. When you're explaining the Medicare Advantage product, the way that folks people kind of sometimes might go through it and just say, here's your $300 a day 7-day copay, here's your this copay, here's your that copay. I think if we just slow it down a little bit, I know there's long appointments, I understand that, but again, the more it's like old, which one is it? I think it was NBC used to say, the more you know, the more the client knows, the better off we are, quite honestly, because when we're going to present the other options, so we got to explain to the client that $300 a day, what does that really mean to you? That means, if you're in there for 7 days, you're exposed for $2,100. And then if you go back in the hospital again, let's say 5 months later for another 7 days, now you're exposed to now you got $4,200 exposure. So just explaining that to the client, I think is important. I think to me, that's a big one. That's just slowing down and just really taking our time about offering these plans. One of the other things as I think about, another thing, just explain to clients about what the benefit of insurance is. I said at the beginning earlier, pennies on the dollar for a significant amount of benefit. How do we explain that to a person so they understand that? Very simply, actually. So take out a calculator, use your phone, whatever the case may be. Show the client, let's say you're showing a client the $300 a day benefit for 7 days. So that's $2,100 that they were in there that they would get out of the plan if they used it one time only. If you divide the annual premium into that $2,100, that will show you how long it would take that client to save that annual premium or it breaks even to that $2,100. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
So for example, I can tell you hospital indemnity generically, it's between 6 to 7 years of a break-even point. Wow. So now if a client gets hospitalized for 7 days and got $2,100 premium, then they get hospitalized a second time and they receive more benefit. Between that 6 to 7 years, what do you think happens to that number? Now that break-even number goes out to 13, 14 years. So you can do that with all the benefits, quite frankly. Like cancer for me is, again, I'm a big believer of the cancer one, not just because personally I've had cancer twice. I'm 54 going to 55. So I've been lucky. But, I'm always, people are always surprised. I'm a good natured on my body. And it is what it is. You deal with it, right? But you have cancer insurance. So I think that's the most undervalued or underutilized product that we have in business. That's another one that doesn't matter about if you have an MA, MedSup, ACA, it doesn't matter. But we have a rider on our hospital indemnity plan for cancer that to equal the benefit that they choose. Again, if you take the annual premium, divide it into the benefit they choose, you'll find that'll be around 23 to 25 years for it to be a break-even point. So if somebody gets diagnosed with cancer 3 years from when you sold them the policy, that person's going to get that benefit, the full benefit in the third year, right? Whenever that diagnosis happens. They're not going to have to wait the 25 years. They have to save those dollars to be able to pay for that. That's the benefit of insurance. That's the beauty of insurance. Insurance has been around for over 3,000 years. That's a long time, right?
Yeah.
We're not doing anything. We're not doing anything new here. We're just getting better at it as we're getting older into this. Is insurance going to be around for the next 3,000 years? Absolutely, because nobody wants to carry the risk, and that's really what we're taking care of: mitigating risk for the clients.
Yeah, 100%. And this is another great way to do that. With this hospital indemnity plan, and you highlight a lot of great benefits there and a lot of great advice for agents presenting it to clients or potential clients. Talk about, if you can, if any pop into your mind, any success stories or other highlights that you wanted to share with us.
I think we developed a e-app back in 2009, 10, somewhere around there. Our first e-app was back in on an iPad. So we've been doing that for a long time. So a lot of success that comes in from hospital indemnity is folks doing it as an e-app, because we're saying how easy it is to quote the product, how easy it is to get an application submitted. It's guaranteed issue up to age 70, and we have probably one of the easier underwriting questions for 70 to 70 and above, or even under 64 and a half. So folks are going to be able to know that they're going to still be able to get that stable price product, even if you have to do some underwriting with it, because it's still very easy underwriting. So from that aspect of it, that's been a pretty good success story. Claims wise, I can't tell you the number of times I've gotten folks that said to me, all my clients have called me and they said, "Oh, thank you very much for giving me that hospital indemnity plan, because that got paid out for me." We have one individual, one person, this is not 5 or 6 or 10. One person has received about $90,000 of benefits out of their hospital indemnity plan, in the last 13, 14 years that they've had the plan in force. Now is that person not happy? I would think, from a financial perspective, absolutely they're happy, right? So there's a lot of folks that, I won't say 90,000 is a lot of people doing that, but there's a lot of folks that are at 90,000, some at 90, some at 50, some at 40, some at 30, some at $10,000 of benefits that they receive out of the plans, which, obviously, the plan delivered what was promised to them. And that's what we strive to do, is deliver what we promised to do, is take care of them, give them a benefit that they deserve.
Yeah. And as you say, it paid for itself and then some. Pennies on the dollar. That's really what it boils down to with this coverage.
No, absolutely. It's, I think, like you were talking about earlier on, about where we can use hospital indemnity. I encourage everybody, just keep an open mind. Don't pigeonhole everything into it's got to be only an MA scenario. You can be creative utilizing, these types of programs. Yes, we talk about MAPD because obviously it's the one that makes it's a perfect fit. But I still think you can still offer something like this to a Medicare supplement client, because there are things that happen in that sup world that maybe you might not need a $300, $400, $500 a day type of copay for hospitalization, but if you get $100 a day for 4 or 5 days, the extra dollars could be used for anything else they might have. Maybe you want to access that skilled nursing rider because it's very flexible and get to be able to provide that 100-day additional coverage for the client at a very reasonable, very, very reasonable rate. So you can be creative and be able to utilize the program, hospital indemnity program in general, very very easily.
Great. Well, Demetri, anything else that you wanted to add that we haven't talked about hospital indemnity that comes to mind?
Oh, geez. What did we talk about?
I ask myself that at the end of everything I do.
I think again, kind of summarizing it all, I think history is important, and knowing the history is key, because that allows us to be able to do other things that other folks can't do, because we've got a lot of experience and information to be able to help us create a lot of things that we've done with the hospital indemnity plan in the time frame here was that we utilized information that said, hey, how can we best help folks be able to take care of some issues that we're seeing are happening on the claim side, so maybe they can get those taken care of. Because a lot of times, insurers will submit claims on everything and anything. So, if you start seeing a pattern, maybe it made sense to, maybe develop something for these folks to be able to get some dollars for them. So that's one of the things I think, one of the cool things about, from our perspective, is that we had the ability to do that. But from a technology, I think we're a mid-sized carrier. We got 300 employees on the northern Chicago area. Tenure has been good tenure. People always joke around and say, once you go to work at GTL, you never leave. It's like Corleone and The Godfather 3. I try to get out, but they pull me back in. But it's it's a good work. It's a great company. It's a family-run business. So they really do care about the agents. They really do care about the clients. Those are the two most important things that we do in our business. And so I think a lot of things as a mid-sized carrier is that we invest a lot in the technology side, and try to provide the best, best in class technology, the easy e-app process, or signature options like text to sign, voice verification call options, or the mobile app. So if you're with your face-to-face with a client, you could take an application right on your mobile device, get the signature, submit it, and everything's issued really, really quick. If not within 5 minutes, within a couple of hours, so you get really quick processing of the various, and we don't just do hospital indemnity, just in case anybody thought that. I think a lot of people think GTL, all we do is hospital indemnity, because that's what a lot of people know us for. We have other products that we also offer too, which as you go into the quoting tool, you'll see that, we do short-term care, we do standalone cancer plans, we do final expense, we do we do traditional term life insurance, fully underwritten. So we do a number of different products that all still work very well in the scope of what we're talking about, in terms of meaning cross-selling, presenting the options for the clients, and being able to get them to the point of being not just a one policy client, getting them to the point that maybe have 2, 3, 4 policies with you, and then you'll get the benefits of all that, by having a great relationship with the clients and getting those referrals and all that good stuff.
Yeah, word of mouth. It means a lot in this business.
Oh, absolutely. Well, word of mouth means everything everywhere.
This is very true. You can spend all the money in the world, a billboard in Times Square, but let me tell you, the word of mouth is the best.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it.
All right.
And at the end of the day, I gotta say, AMG has done a great job. They're really, really engaged, with the agents that they work with. And, so I'm very proud, very happy. I've been doing this with AMG for a long time. So, you said at the beginning, I've been around here at GTL now going on 20 years. So I probably was with AMG. I've probably been with now for 17 of those 20 years. So, so it's been a great run, and looking forward to continuing that run in the future here.
Very good. Well, Demetri Simos is the AVP of Sales at GTL. And once again, folks, that's Guarantee Trust Life, the website, if you want to go check out things there, gtlic.com. Demetri, thank you so much. I've really, really enjoyed our conversation today.
Thanks a lot, Matt. Appreciate you.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of AMG Academy. For more information on any of today's topics or to contact us, visit AmerilifeMarketingGroup.com.